Up next with us, we have a specialist here to analyze the social influence in Peter's life. We have Shannon Van Buskirk here. Shannon, first question, how influential can social factors be on a child's recall?
Though Peter was only 6, it is likely that accusations about the case inadvertently got back to him. Depending on who Peter received information from, one of two things could have happened. First, Peter's memory could have been inflated by his own personal beliefs about who would commit a murder. Since McGinty was a known drug dealer, he likely was pegged as a bad guy in the 6-year-old's mind. In this type of situation, the outcome is based upon a naive stereotype in which Peter would credit all bad things in the neighborhood to this bad man. Following this logic, it is possible that he falsely blamed McGinty because he only knew bad things about him. In a similar scenario, parental misinformation could have swayed Peter to conclude that McGinty was a murderer. Researchers have observed children's tendency to adapt to the assumptions of the people they trust most, even if they experience dissonance when doing so. If Peter's parents had expressed their opinion that Spongello was murdered by McGinty, then it is likely that regardless of what Peter saw, he would come to accept their skepticism. On the flip side of parental misinformation, researchers have noticed the opposite response when children are presented with faulty information from strangers. Instead of conforming to their erroneous claims, children become more confident in their own knowledge and report what they actually witnessed. If Peter really did see McGinty murder Spongello, then it is likely that he dismissed his neighbor's claims about the murderer immediately after they were made, and stored the true information about the event in his long-term memory.
Considering this information, do you think Peter's testimony is credible?
I know a lot of people are suspicious about the validity of Peter's testimony because of the delay between the murder and his disclosure. However, this is a common trend among children who have been traumatized. On average, a child will wait 5 years before revealing their involvement in a scandal, opposed to only 28% who come forth immediately. This wait is often due to the fear of punishment, rejection, or retaliation. In the case of Peter, he openly admits that he was afraid to talk about his experience because he knew his parents would be angry that he was at the park after dark. In addition, his knowledge about McGinty's character probably induced intimidation. It makes sense that he waited until now, once McGinty moved out of the neighborhood, before he came forth to the police. Understanding the power of social influence, I can't help but believe that Peter is telling the truth about McGinty's involvement in the murder when considering all the factors that surround.
Thank you, Dr. Van Buskirk. Have a great day, and we appreciate your time. And now, to talk to us about reminders in children's memory, we have Dr. Reginald Vanderbilt from the University of Kansas. Reginald, how's it going? Is this on now? Oh, yes, Brandon, hello, how are you? I'm doing great. I still can't figure this stuff out, but yes, I'm doing wonderful. My first question, Reginald, is what types of reminders are there in children's memory? Well, when we're talking with memory, there are plenty of types of reminders. There's visual, there's verbal, there's physical, there's things to do with social influences, there's all types of reminders. The main ones that I specialize in are the visual and verbal reminders in children's memory. I understand. So which types did Peter have in the case? Now, in Peter's case, I noticed a lot of visual and verbal reminders. Mainly that his memory could be strong because he walked past the playground every day after school for those 4 years between the murder and him actually saying something. So those are going to stick out very strong in his mind. It's also a very severe and very traumatic experience in his life, something he has no experience before. So those type of reminders of seeing the playground are going to stick out a lot in his mind. But now, for the verbal, since he lacked talking to his parents, his memory is going to be a bit questionable because he didn't have the memory of physically talking about it. He didn't have his parents to help him remind him of it. He solely was keeping it inside. So all Peter had were his visual reminders. He lacked those verbal reminders from his parents and anyone else that could have been involved in the case. Alright, In your opinion, which type of reminder is the strongest in relations to the court case? Now, I'm no judge, I'm no lawyer, but from looking at the facts, comparing it with my research, and in the research that's been done in the field by associates and colleagues, and the information regarding his visual reminders and his verbal reminders, I would definitely say that Peter's information is not credible or not strong enough, and that I think the court should look at other evidence and other factors in seeing if this is truth and if we can really put this man behind bars. Thank you very much, Dr. Vanderbilt. We appreciate your time and have a wonderful day.
Your head's
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You can adjust it as you like.
How bad was that?
Reinforce
With his lack, I messed the last part up. I can try.
Should we redo the whole part, do you think? Probably.
I understand. Go on.
Here. Sorry, I meant to say you have to wait for the beep, but here, just so.
Case with Peter. What I saw, I messed it up. I should have just said what types. Start that one over. Hold on. Center. Yeah, so I'm kind of in the box per se.
Okay, I think that.